All right. Fable is a game that honestly I think I got into it just in time to see it all stop. I got into it with three. Um, I think after that I tried playing some of the older ones. I eventually I did get the first one. I think, but it was like a later version where it had all the I think DLC stuff added. But I had the first and second one at a point, and I think I traded one of my games with a friend at school to in high school to play the other two. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I got into it just in time to see its death throes, basically. And what sucks about that is Fable 3 had a book to follow up its main story. Like, there have been some books in the Fable franchise that, from what I know of them, they seem pretty cool. It ended on a cliffhanger of the hero being locked away by fucking Reaver. This was, I think, somewhat touched upon in the I think Connect bullshit. I was never really able to get into that, but so I said it to say this. Imagine how annoying it is to know one of the franchises you got into back in the day in high school when games were still fun. Imagine it just being another thing that these fucking binary trash degenerates basically force to the ground and violate up the ass. That's how I feel about it, because this just sounds like more non-binary trash slop. Now, granted, what I'm talking about is the morality thing they've been saying they want to do, where it's not binary. There's not like a mustache. Where it's like, I find this funny because the same fucksticks who are either saying this or defending it are trying to say things like, "Oh, well, there's no objective good or evil." Really, if that's true, then why do you fucksticks always spurg out when you don't get your way? Like, why is it that if there's no such thing as good or evil, then why do you consistently defend people going into a church and harassing people who've done nothing wrong, saying that the minister is wrong for being I guess, affiliated with ICE, which I don't see how that's a problem. That's his business. And also the fuckstick, the non-binary trash who tried to use the one cannot serve two masters. The only one trying to force him to make a choice here is you fucksticks, so fuck you. There's this. If you didn't like the wokery that we saw over the years, although that word has now become kind of, let's go with passe, very banal. If you invoked any criticism against it, you were called every horrible thing these douchebags could think of, and they have ruined the meaning of these words. Like racist, that's now a joke of a word. Misogynist, and I mean, granted, the people who call me these things, I kind of find fun because I'm like, well, you're a percent, like 1% in the right direction. I mean, I hate everyone. I make fun of everyone. It's the only real equality I believe in. But they will act like you are a degenerate swine if you defend manga, saying like, no, I like the fact that manga isn't sanitized garbage like we have in America. But then again, us loving it made these same douchebags then decide they wanted to violate the manga industry. For some reason, they're having trouble doing that as well. Probably because it's in a country that's not America, where they have an entire industry of gender bullshit to back them up, for the most part. So yeah, my point is, like, these people are full of shit about morality. They are a bunch of amoral faggots who think they are morally superior to you, which I find funny because much like Movie Bob, they've made it pretty clear they don't give two shits about right or wrong. It's what they want. They want it, and they don't want you to have it. If you don't like it, you are an apostate deserving of death. And no, I'm not being hyperbolic. I genuinely believe they think this. Don't blame me. Look at the things they did in regards to Hogwarts Legacy, where you had pieces of shit like Jim Sterling spurging out. And then after Pokimane got bullied and I guess left her job, then all her fans went scorched earth on these pricks, and they're like, why are you targeting me? I didn't do it. Like, no, bullshit. We can go through your timeline and see you have done this. And also, even if you weren't involved, why did you then go along with the collective? Because you gave away your autonomy to be a part of it. But anyway, so I find this kind of asinine because the thing about Fable is like it's a fairy tale type of story. Like not full, and by fairy tale I mean actual story books of fairy tale, not the overrated trite manga anime story series. Like yeah, no, Natsu's a dipshit and overrated, and I kind of wouldn't mind seeing him get punched into a coma and losing all his teeth. Gadriel's better. Don't at me. So Fable's supposed to be like this. So there is a morality tale. Because I don't know about y'all, but I've at least tried to read some old fairy tales, like the Grimm's fairy tales. There is some morality to it. Other times it's just a reflection of like very old tales from a bygone era that I think even to the people at the time when the Grimm's brothers published them, they still seemed kind of weird and out there. Maybe. So, and also there's probably a touch of some stuff from mythology, but it's like with the lens of there is right and there is wrong. And I know this is a foreign concept to the dipshits who basically, what's the word? Propagate this bullshit gray morality idea. It's like, no, there's like, even if you want to say a villain is sympathetic or an evil person is, you feel bad for them, they are still bad. They still did horrible things. You may be able to at least agree with the reasoning for why they did, or you at least find some sympathy in why they are the way they are. But they are still a monster that needs to be put down. It's the same with a hero. You can say a hero is a jackass, but he's still a hero. He's still doing the right thing. You just don't like the fact of he's kind of a jackass about it. But that's just my opinion on the whole Grimm. That's why I don't like it that much. I do like the idea of contextualizing things for you to decide whether this person is in the right or not, but that's just me. So the idea of Fable is, okay, it's still this... It's basically like what we would see back in the PS3 era. Like, there was a game that was going to be called Armada of the Damned. It was a Pirates of the Caribbean game. It had a karma morality system where, depending on what you did, you would become a very villainous person who I think could throw a anchor around like a whip. Or you could be more heroic and like use a flare gun to have artillery cannonballs shot down on an area. Like, yeah, that's one of many games that have been canceled over the years. I am still pissed off about, and the more I think about it, the more there's a part of my mind thinking, let's get dangerous. That or, they called me crazy. They called me insane. They called me loony. And boy, were they right. So it was kind of, Fable has something like that going for it, because that was what they did back in the day. And I kind of find it annoying to a degree that the non-binary trash are doing this, because these rat people seem to take away a lot of agency in games where it's like, no, you have to do this. You have to do that. You only have, they limit your options as much as, like, I'm pretty sure I've heard a guy say no one has done more to limit player agency than Hideo Kojima. I disagree. He's definitely probably done a number. I wouldn't doubt that. But I find these fuckbags to be more guilty of that. Because I remember a time when you could at least choose to kill a bandit leader who you beat in a boss fight and promised that regardless of what you did, his people would leave the dwellers alone. And that, saying that was a soldier's promise, because he used to be a soldier. And if you choose to kill him, you kill him. If you don't kill him, your character just punches him, knocks the cigar out of his hand, and you offer to help him stand on his feet. That was pretty simple. But, and that honestly in itself had some limited agency, because, I mean, either way, the dwellers get what they need from you. What's another one? Or Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2, one thing that makes it kind of like, what's the phrasing? A man in a desert watching a man die of drowning, or whatever. Like, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Witcher 3, they have some of that. Like, say what you want about Witcher 3 and the Witcher author. The third game had a lot of different outcomes, and you had lots of different choices, and there were things you could be left to find there. Hell, Skyrim was also kind of praiseworthy for that, because there's still things you can find to this day that you didn't know about for years. And The difference is Skyrim also limited agency. It was more of there was just more to uncover in Skyrim. There was this. There was. I mean, I remember Star Wars: The Old Republic. The choices you had in that game, there was some limitation, but it was still like you were still either good or evil. Light side, dark side. My side, your side. My side, your side. So I find this kind of stupid. Like, if you wanted to make a more nuanced thing, okay, fine, you could do that. But to say there is no objective morality about it is really retarded and also kind of gay. And not even the tolerable gay, I mean the stupid gay. The kind of gay I would make fun of in middle school. And I've said that so many times, I'm gathering, but like, if you wanted to have nuance, that would have been fine. Like, that is actually a hang-up you can have about Mass Effect Andromeda because... Or not Mass Effect Andromeda, Mass Effect 3 with the Elusive Man. This was an argument that Almighty Lolly had. Was you could have had the Elusive Man become like a Garrick-type character. Like, someone who you don't know if he's actually an ally or if you fully trust him. But at least there was some debate on whether he was morally evil or good. Honestly, I say Garrick falls under both. It's just he leans more to one than the other. It's the same with Al Swedgen from Deadwood. He is a bad man. It's just he's a bad man who is still capable of committing acts of kindness and being human still. Like, that kind of villain I like because I feel bad for them and I kind of pine for their redemption in a weird way. Actually, that would actually be a cool character in Fable, now I think about it. But then again, that requires people who can actually write dialogue that doesn't sound like it was made by a millennial high school reject. Who gives his fellow edgelords a bad name, I might add. Looking at you, Netflix. Fuckbags. And, so yeah, I just find this kind of just aggravating. Like, imagine having someone piss on your back and tell you it's rain. But then when they see you doing something they don't like that's less offensive, they act like you're the shithead. It's basically like, I can't remember if I've used this in a video before, but I think one time It's a Gunham had a good joke about this, where some douchebag on Reddit was talking about how he is the soulless wretch. And this guy draws, like, wolf diaper porn and draws the dick. He draws the dick. And it's like, where do you get off as a person drawing wolf diaper porn and act like I am the soulless wretch of society? Jesus Christ, I at least give my money to charity before I do my degeneracy, and that's the way it should be. And I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, that's what he said. So imagine, well, no, you can't imagine. We've seen these fuckers do this for years. It's beyond asinine. It's why I laugh when I see people like Ubisoft crashing and burning. Same with Bethesda. I have nothing but a laugh to be had with seeing Bethesda's just fuck-uppery. Like, it's basically not much different from what Ubisoft did in the lead-up to Assassin's Creed Shadow, where it was like, imagine Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons stepping on the rake repeatedly, but he set up the rakes. I believe Sterling Craig had the better analogy said, but that's what those fuckers did. Bethesda's done that, and I'm just thinking, when are we going to stop allowing the non-binary trash in? Because these are not people I trust to be sane. I don't trust them to make... Like, these are not gamers. These are not people who like games. These are activists. They are just another legacy of the radicals that the 70s forgot. They are just not much different from the radicals which basically accused Stan Lee of, I guess, supporting fascism because, I don't know, he wasn't that much of an activist fuckbag like they were. And if you don't believe me, there was a radio show where you saw a sort of conversation between him, I believe, and some of these radicals. And they were basically like, we don't think you're doing this right. It's like, imagine have someone tell you that the thing you've made yourself, that you are doing it wrong, and they know better than you. The thing that you made. with your own blood, sweat, and toil. I mean, it wasn't always yours, but you at least came in and contributed with it. Whereas these fuckers were never in danger of giving a fuck till they realized lots of people liked it and they could use it to influence people. That's what these people are. These are not gamers. These are parasites. They are locusts. I like to say they are not much different from the Californians fleeing from California. And much like them, I don't trust any of them. I don't trust them. I don't like them. I would sooner force them back into the shithole quagmire they fled from, wall it off, and if one of them tried to flee from it again by climbing over the wall, I would have a guy waiting on standby to beat them up and throw them back into the quagmire they escaped from. Because they made that quagmire. Those are the Californians in my mind. The sane ones I think should be allowed to leave, but the activists are not that far removed from them. I don't like them. They are fuckheads. They are... Much like Chief Lisp, they are begging for a reason to be bullied as hard as they were in high school. Difference is Chief Lisp eventually was punished for what he did. And the only way this could be any dumber, in my opinion, with Fable is if they took away... Because one of the cool things about Fable, and admittedly I think Red Dead Redemption took a lot of this from them, or Fable was at least enough of an influence on the RPG genre of games that it influenced it. You could your guns could be customized. Actually, not even customized. It was more like you could level the weapon up, and depending on what you did with the weapon, it would turn out a certain way. Whether it be the pistols, or the swords, or the hammers, or the rifles. And this was in Fable 3, I might add. And I want to say also Fable 2, but Fable 2 had some things in it that I wish were in Fable 3, like the turret pistol. That looked like a cool fucking pistol. And I never got the DLC for Fable 3, so I have no idea if that was later added. There was also like the industrial sword pre-order thing. I wish I could have had that. That still pisses me off. But same with the Staff of Partholon. I'm still pissed I couldn't have gotten that back in the day. So, I just think this is stupid that they're doing this. And for some reason, I'm imagining they're going to make it an even dumber decision after this. Like, if you take away the customization option, and worst of all, you make the customization even more limited in regard to not just the look of your character, all I can think is, foots and asses. Yeah, to quote Red Foreman, foots and asses. That's how I feel about these people. Oh, calling them people is actually being charitable. They're rat people. They are rat people who are still mad at God for making them the ugly people they are inside and out. But then again, that's my view of them. And honestly, this is the tamer one. The things I would like to say about them, I'm pretty sure would get the police sent to my house. And the FBI would be like, FBI, open up! Because it turns out these psychos frame me for some vile shit. Actually, no, they probably wouldn't. That would require effort. And I'm nobody, so... Yeah, no, I think I'll end the video here. I have no idea where I was going to go with this, but yeah, this has gone on long enough. Have a nice day, Yima Ohid.
Oh, don't get me wrong. 1,000 years ago, it had character. Crusades, Spanish Inquisition, Watergate. Now it's just mind-numbingly dull.